Good morning. Okay, I've had my lemon water, took a shower, let it run through my system, and now I'm on to spirulina. So the medical medium highly recommends this company called Vimergy, and spirulina is also a detoxer for the mercury that's in the midline canal of the brain. So you can find him on Instagram, and he has many books on Amazon. Anthony Williams, the medical medium. But this product is amazing. I feel so much better just even after a week of using spirulina. You can put it in your shakes and you can drink it just with water. It's very refreshing. Yum. It kind of like oxygenates the blood, and you can, it's refreshing. It's not, you know, it's not like a chocolate milkshake or anything, but this is good. Okay, I'll sip on that as we talk. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is the medical medium made a post in regards to caffeine, matcha teas, any kind of caffeine, chocolate, and he has a podcast actually that I listened to quite some time ago, but I've re-listened again, and it just reminds you of releasing any kind of caffeine that you're drinking or ingesting into your body. I have a little bit harder time with a little bit of, you know, chocolate here and there. Make sure it's organic and, you know, all of that, but just little bits. So the correlation between caffeine and abusive relationships, it was very fascinating. And really, it's an energy. So whatever you're putting into your body is a form of energy, and that which you will attract in the outside world as well. So go over to his Instagram page. There's a link to the podcast, and it's really fascinating stuff. I would highly recommend it. I have taken out all caffeine out of my system, out of my body, and replaced it with herbal teas, and lemon water, and drinking spirulina, and I feel a world of difference in a very short amount of time. People think, oh, it's going to take forever. It does not. It's just making that choice, you know, instead of reaching for, you know, the coffee, because what happens a lot with brain fog, which I've had myself, it can actually keep you from choosing something healthy. And so you'll just reach for that coffee or the matcha or, you know, whatever, and not trying to gain more energy, you know, you may feel like you need it throughout the day. But when you stop doing that and just say, okay, I'm gonna make a choice that's healthier for my body, you will be amazed how quick it actually works. So try it. I highly recommended it. It's spirulina, and it's very refreshing. I know it doesn't, it's like, you know, looks like chlorophyll or chlorella, which you're not supposed to be drinking actually. So switch to spirulina instead. So one thing I wanted to say about that is, you know, and I did a reading for today, and woke up and meditated on that. And but before I introduce the reading, I wanted to just talk about how, you know, as highly sensitive people or empathic people, or even just women in general, sometimes we step into relationships where we get the red flag right away that we don't listen to, and you could spend years, you know, going down a rabbit hole, often kind of losing your sense of self, or the confusion of knowing what you know, but trying to put the blindfolders on so you don't have to actually deal with what you know. And as an empath, often we go into this space of trying to understand something because we so often desperately want everybody to be in a place of happiness and peace, and which is not possible. I mean, people have to choose that for themselves, but it's definitely something that I've done throughout my life. I would also very much recommend taking a look at your astrology chart. It will tell you a lot about how you kind of operate in the world. I personally have a ton of Libra, many planets in Libra, and which can lead to people pleasing and often blaming yourself for situations that you know aren't healthy and trying to figure out a way to fix it. But there is no fixing it. I mean, it's when you see red flags, that's what they are. And if someone isn't willing to, take responsibility for their side of the street, then you cannot clean up everybody's side of the street. You'll be doing it forever, and you won't be directing your energy into your, joys and passions and your energy in places that are actually, bringing you abundance and love in ways that that you would like to show up in your life. So, it's interesting, it also depends kind of too, like generationally, what sort of generation you were in and how you were raised in a particular family. Some generations and families, it's very much a woman really trying to need to make a relationship work. And that if it doesn't, it's somehow your fault or you failed, which is not the case, and it's not necessarily true. I think, Carolyn Miss was talking about how when a woman sort of steps out of a relationship that she knows that is not healthy for her, there's sort of like where do you direct your love? Because, women, we are nurturers, we are natural nurturers. We are designed to want to direct our love, into somebody, a project, an animal, but you can get lost in that. Where do I direct my love? It can feel empty and kind of confusing in a moment in your life. I've experienced that myself, but it doesn't last. And there are cycles too. So something that, maybe that kind of happened in the past may actually trigger something in the moment. Like it might reintroduce itself again in your life, which, is called a pattern, but the more it occurs, the more you can see it more clearly. So, I wanted to kind of talk about 4 different ways to redirect your energy. And one of those ways, and I wrote them down here, so, which I love, is just, sitting with your soul. Just sitting with your soul. Maybe you're just looking at a tree for a while. Matt Licata wrote this book. It's called The Healing Space. And, in one of his videos, he talks about sitting with your soul. And it's really, or Eckhart Tolle, I mean, he, the stillness speaks. It's that space in which you get really quiet and just let the moment just sort of, it's like things just kind of release as you sit with your soul. There's really nothing you have to do per se. The other thing is stop ingesting toxic foods in your body. Now listen, no one's 100% perfect. I'm not. I have no perfection in my body whatsoever. No Virgo. Kind of wish I did, because I'm not as organized as I'd like to be. But, you know, stop ingesting things that are not good for your body and your soul. And that's even judgments and people's beliefs about you that might be very rigid, who do not understand the whole picture at all. So, you know, you got to let those things go. No matter how loud they want to be or whatever, it's like you got to let those things go, because it's just more toxicity that you may be ingesting. So it's like, okay, I'm letting it go. Another way is to sort of redirect the energy is to take a break from the internet, stop kind of looking at videos and things that are sort of distracting you away from something that might generate a creative direction for you, and greater peace, and just releasing of anxiety even. I mean, there's so much information on the internet that it's overwhelming if you're constantly sort of looking through the internet for, you know, information. It can be too much, even though, I mean, I'll say this myself, I have a lot of amazing spiritual teachers that I am connected with, but even that can get to be too much, because there's just so much information one person can sort of ingest and digest in a moment. So, you know, just take it a little slower in that respect, and that will help actually sort of redirect that energy. The other thing is continue with your meditations, you know, be consistent with your meditations and your prayers, you know, prayers for yourself, but for the world, you know. There's so much suffering going on in the world that, you know, saying a prayer is a really magical thing to contribute. And, you know, your meditations, I do like Joe Dispenza meditations quite a lot. That I have many different meditations that he does. You can find them on the website, and he has a lot of different options. So whatever sort of resonates with you in the moment, but I do tend to find myself doing a lot of his meditations. So those are just some ideas that can kind of help you sort of alleviate any, you know, anxiety or things that you may be picking up other people's energies, because, you know, we want to be clear about what energies we're actually transmitting, transmuting. So now I'll talk about the reading, and part of the reasons why I talked about some of those things prior is because, hold on one second. Yummy. Is because this reading, you know, in my meditation, I was asking, okay, what needs to be known now? Like, what wants to come through today? So the first couple cards, and I asked before the reading, everything I'm going to read is upright. So that's one way to start reading the cards, is to have an intention on how you want the cards, you know, I'm going to read these all upright today. So the King of Cups is the first card. So the King of Cups energy, well, of course, you know, it can be a Scorpio, it can be, you know, any kind of water sign, all right? But also, it's an energy. So it's also an energy, right? So someone might be displaying this type of energy as well. So it's not necessarily just water signs, but it's also an energy that somebody might be showing up as in your life in a particular moment. Then we have the Three of Swords that came up, and this is about kind of the overall energy that I was getting from it is there's a relationship, or was a relationship, past or previous, that may be kind of like revisited or whatnot. that there's a betrayal, there's a lie. There's not only just a lie they're telling you, but there's a lie they're telling the world. That's creating, it's like gaslighting. It's gaslighting people to have them believe something that's not true, that occurred, that didn't, that's not the correct story. So those are a couple of the cards, the first cards. In the center of the reading is the Nine of Pentacles. So this is, a woman, a person who is, just growing and, being independent and thriving in her space. So that's very much a growth card. Okay, then we've got the Queen of Swords and the Moon. So to me, this is representing sort of cutting away the deception, that lies beneath. It's cutting away the deception, even if you don't specifically know what was said or things that were said to certain people. You have to let it go and move on. That's just the way of it. If they want to live with gaslighting and lies, then that's a choice that they're making. And then we've got the Page of Pentacles. So the page is, a new beginning, sort of like that redirecting energy, focusing on a direction that is healing and kind to yourself. And in situations like these, unrequited love, it can be hurtful, and you can go into depths of sadness and grief and anger, and these things can come up, but deep down that in a moment, that an energy, when you get very clear and aware of what's actually happened, you can shift it right away. So, and the last few cards is the Poise card. So it's kind of like you're ready to move on and, start that creative project, write that book, make that music, whatever it is that's, feeds your soul. Begin anew. And let's see. And once you start sort of, one of my teachers talks about how, when you take one step towards spirit, right, that it's gonna come right to you and reach out for you, and okay, we got this. It's a team effort. So this card, the last card that I picked, was Partnerships and Alliances. So this is very much the card of spirit, and that we're not alone, in this world, and that we're very much connected to spirit in all things, and opening that crown chakra, especially in your meditations, to allow sort of what wants to come through. And I'll just read a little bit here. The meaning of this card denotes that you're now starting to see the fruits of your labor take seed and blossom. There may still be a lot to do, but watch out for synchronicities, which could bring opportunities to form connections or unexpected alliances that may create something new. These could assist you in gathering resources for future projects. With partnerships, always remembering that there has to be an even exchange of energy. So if you give too much, whereas your partner gives too little, it will leave you feeling energetically drained and cause potential disharmony in the union. There must be overall balance within the alliance in order to make it work and blend together for optimum results. Optimal. This card reminds you that success comes in many forms, even from the most unlikely sources. So be open to new possibilities coming in. And have a blessed day, and much love and gratitude for everybody here. Thank you.